Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Ready to Ride Pilates for Horse Riders session, where we are going to be focusing on my pet topic of coordination or multitasking. If you haven't already done a session, we're going to be running through a little quick warm-up before you start, so don't worry too much. So let's get going, thinking about having that nice equal weight through both of your seat bones. Always key to get that established before you start. Your weight is equal, whether you're sitting or standing. Check your shoulders are level and your spine is elastic and drawing you up tall. And then we're going to loosen off through your shoulders to make sure that you're relaxed through your upper body before you start. Always, this is my favourite exercise if you are working in an office or if you've been doing a lot of driving. It's such a good one for releasing any tension before you actually start working your body or riding your horse. Then arms across your chest. Keeping your shoulders level, you're turning your upper body from side to side and keeping that focus on equal weight through your seat bones. There's no point in starting the main exercises if you aren't really balanced through your body beforehand. And then we're going to swap so that your legs are crossed the other way, your arms are folded the other way. Again, check your seat bones feel level. It will be different because your hips are in a slightly different position. And again, with your shoulders staying level, you're turning your upper body side to side and making sure that your seat bone pressure stays equal too. Okie doke, we're now going to turn onto your front. This exercise I find really hard to talk through and do at the same time, so please forgive any complete verbal malfunction. We're going to do your one leg kick, so you can have your arms wherever feels comfortable, but you need to have your tummy away from the imaginary puddle of water, your pelvic floor onto floor 3, equal pressure through the front of your headlights, and you're going to bend one knee to 90 degrees and pulse 1, 2, 3 times, then straighten. Bend the other knee and pulse 1, 2, 3 times and straighten. So far so good. If you want to stay doing this, that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to make it a little bit harder, we're going to add in the foot position. So you can go toe, heel, toe with each leg. Or you can go, or then you can swap to going heel, toe, heel with each leg. And the key with this one is to keep that feeling of equal pressure through your headlights before you, or as you go through each pulse. And try to make sure that you're not rocking or pulsing so hard that you end up really jamming yourself down through that front of your headlight level as you do your pulses. So keep the pulses small. And try to keep that headlight pressure really equal. Don't forget to breathe. And try to keep your pelvic floor onto floor 3 as well. So a lot of things going on with this exercise, which is why I find it so hard to talk and pulse at the same time. We'll do one more with each leg. Super job. Okay, we're going on to your side next, and we're going to be in your capital L position. So you want to be propped up onto your forearm with your top arm resting onto your top leg, your knees bent at 90 degrees, pelvic floor is onto floor 3, and then we're synchronizing, lifting your top arm as you lift your pelvis, and then bring both back down together. So it's pelvic floor into that lift, and both back down together. You're looking for a smooth, controlled movement all the way up and all the way down, so no plopping on the way down, but also make sure that your breathing is staying very smooth and very relaxed and very regular. I'm going to make it a bit harder now. So lift your top leg. So now we're still looking for that coordinated movement of body and top arm. Still looking for that nice smooth lowering. Keeping the pelvic floor onto floor 3 and keeping your breathing really regular. One of the hardest things about these coordination challenges is that it's so tempting with the difficult exercises to hold your breath because you're so focused. We're now going to add in the top leg as well. So you'll straighten the top leg at the same time as you do the top arm, and at the same time as you do that lift, keeping the pelvic floor onto floor 3, keeping the breathing really regular, pelvic floor breathing, synchronization, control, so there's no plopping. Do one last one. Okay, we're now going to go onto your back and we're going to do several quite tricky exercises on your back, but most of them have an easy option, so please do the easy option if you need to do it. We're going to start with your scissors. If you want to use a headrest, that's absolutely fine for these first ones. When you first get going with your scissors, I suggest that you have your hands onto your headlights so you've got that nice feedback about what your headlights are up to. You want to be thinking of that neutral tummy position, ribs down towards your pelvis or a spiky ball if you've got one handy, and pelvic floor onto floor 3. So if you're going for the level 1, you are moving your legs up into tabletop and back down. If you are going from level 2, we are sticking at this level. We're not going to do the level 3, so we're not doing both legs at the same time. So it's each foot down to the floor in turn. We're going to make this harder by adding in your arms. So arms up, pointing up to the ceiling, hands over your shoulders. If you're going from the level 1 position, you're going to move the opposite arm in the same direction as your leg. But the scissors, remember, is a wine glass exercise where you're thinking of keeping a glass of wine balanced on your knee. We're now making it a double wine glass because the arm that isn't moving also needs to have a wine glass in it. If you're going from your level 2 position, the opposite arm is going in the opposite direction, but you still want to have your wine glass feeling on your knee and in the hand that isn't moving, and you will find it easier, almost certainly, one way than the other. Keep your breathing, keep your pelvic floor, keep that ribs to pelvis position, and keep those wine glasses as full as you possibly can. Do one more with each pair. Okay, bring your arms down, bring your feet down if you've been in tabletop, and we're going to move on to doing your hip twist. So again, if you want to, when you get started, hands onto your headlights. If you're going to go from the level 1, you're rolling out each knee in turn, keeping your headlights absolutely still, thinking of ribs to pelvis. The more you think of ribs to pelvis, the more stable you will be through the middle. If you're going from your level 2 or level 3, then you're going to be taking from tabletop each leg out in turn. But remember, when you're from tabletop, it is the whole leg that is on the go. Okay, we're going to add in the arms once again, but with this exercise, it doesn't matter whether you're doing feet on the floor or in tabletop, the arm pattern is the same. You're taking the opposite arm in the opposite direction. Once again, keep thinking ribs to pelvis, pelvic floor onto floor 3, regular breathing, and 2 full wine glasses all the way through. And it's seriously tough, but when you think about how subtle the horse is in terms of what it can feel in terms of your weight shift and your change in your contact, this is the level of control that you need to have through your body. Do one more each way. Okay, arms down, feet down one at a time. Okay, we're going to finish off this little set by combining your scissors and your hip twist. Definitely have hands onto your headlights for that little bit of extra feedback. Ribs to pelvis, neutral tummy, pelvic floor onto floor 3. If you are going from the floor, it's one leg to scissors, one out to hip twist, like so. If you are going from tabletop, you are taking one leg down to scissors, one leg out to hip twist, like so. So once again, keep that little mantra running through, that checklist. Ribs to pelvis, pelvic floor onto floor 3, level headlights, and most important of all, keep that breathing really regular. Watch with your scissors leg that you aren't just bending the knee. Remember, you want to move from the hip. This is all about hip control. This is a great exercise for doing, say, lateral work or slightly higher level flat work where you've got your legs doing 2 different things. You really need that control through both sides, but with a nice stable centre. We'll do one more each way. Lovely job. Feet down one at a time. If you have a headrest in, I'd like you to take it out for the next one. So we're going to move on to your shoulder bridge. Okay, so feet and knees approximately hip width apart. hands onto the floor beside you, pelvic floor onto floor 3, then roll back and imprint, peel up, one vertebra at a time, pause at the top for a nice breath in, and then as you breathe out, come back down, imprinting to neutral. Do one more just like that, so pelvic floor, roll back and imprint, peel up, nice relaxed breath in at the top, and then as you come back down, it's every single imprint, every single vertebrae rather, through to your imprint. Okay, you're going to make this a bit harder now. You're going to have your hands up to the ceiling, and we're going to stay up at your next bridge. So it's pelvic floor, roll back and imprint, peel up, and then you're staying in your bridge position to do your hip dip. So keep the pelvic floor, and you're dropping each side of your pelvis in turn. Try to keep your knees still approximately hip width apart, so your knees are staying still. That movement is from your pelvis, but also I'd like you to focus on what your hands are doing. So look at your hands and try to really keep your hands absolutely still, but also soft. So again, thinking about when you're in the saddle, you'll want to be able to maintain that soft, light and even contact even when you are using your seat and doing some quite demanding things with your legs. So this is where my independent seat, independent contact really comes into play. Okay, so we'll do 2 more. 1, 2. Okay, then bring your arms down and every vertebrae in turn through your imprint to neutral. We've got one last tricky exercise lying on your back. We're going to do the double leg stretch. So again, before you start, ribs to pelvis, neutral tummy, pelvic floor onto floor 3. If you're going from the floor, you're sliding one leg straight and back up, then slide the other leg straight and back up. If you're going from tabletop, you're straightening each leg in turn. Always headlights are level, so it's that neutral tummy, ribs to pelvis, pelvic floor onto floor 3. We're then going to add in the arms, so same as before, hands up above your shoulders, but this time you're doing that half circle as you go out, half circle as you go in. Keep your circles really small. If they get too big, it's really hard to try and coordinate the arms and the legs together because it takes, the timing is completely out. So keep those circles quite small and really try and time the way out for the arms and legs to be the way out for the same, and the way in to be timed the same. Then we're going to see if we can turn your circles the other way round. So that's quite a challenge for the brain. Still thinking that out half of your circle coincides with the out part of the leg. Still thinking ribs to pelvis, neutral tummy, pelvic floor onto floor 3. And we'll do one more with each leg. Last one. Okay, arms down, one at a time, feet back down. And we're going to whiz onto the side that you haven't already been on to do one more side bend. So we are starting propped up on your forearm, capital L, knees to 90 degrees, top arm onto your top side, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and we're starting by synchronizing, lifting the pelvis and lifting your top arm, looking for that nice smooth movement, no plopping on the way back down, and keeping your breathing very regular. Okay, let's make it a bit harder, lifting the top leg, still looking for that nice control. Super job. If you're getting any shoulder pain, by all means just do the arm and leg bit without actually lifting. You do this flat as well. Then we're going to add in straightening the top leg. Make sure my foot doesn't disappear into the bushes. So keep the pelvic floor, keep the breathing, but keep that synchronization. So we've got arm, leg and pelvis all going together, and watching that you don't plop on landing. Pelvic floor, keep the breathing. We'll do 2 more. Super job, well done. Okay, come up onto your knees, and we're going to finish with a nice shell stretch to stretch you out. So take your arms forwards. If you can get your heels onto, or bottom onto your heels, that's great, but if you can't quite manage that position, just go wherever is comfortable. So when you are here, stretch your hands away and try and do a couple of nice deep breaths. And then bring your hands back towards your knees. And we are going to finish there, because that was quite an intense session. You've worked your body, but also particularly your brain, really quite hard. So we're going to leave it there before you start to get really tired. I suggest you go and do one of the warm-up or cool-down sessions, or one of the relaxation sessions, or something like that, just to bring your body back down again. Thank you so much for having a go at this session. I hope you found it enjoyable and useful, and take care of yourselves, and I will see you again very soon.